Good afternoon, everybody. I know I'm the last session, so I'm going to try and keep it as simple and as quick as possible. So hopefully you all don't fall asleep. In terms of, how does this work? I'll talk a little bit about Theodist, who we are, a little bit of our history, and go from there in terms of what we've been doing to be ready for the boom. So Theodist is a PNG-owned company. It is owned by an Australian family that is sort of second, third generation PNG. A number of you might be familiar with Ryan Peeney, who's represented the country internationally, and the business is owned by his parents. Theodist was founded in 1968, so we're just over 50 years old, and it's a business that has started off with stationery as the key part of its business and a little bit of survey equipment. That's where it all started 50 years ago, and over the last 50 odd years, the business has grown considerably. We've been expanding into a whole bunch of different product lines, of which I've listed them on the screen there. And we have now become the largest business superstore in Papua New Guinea. We currently employ over 310 staff, spread between Port Moresby, Lae, and Mount Hagen. We also work with, the last count is I think about 150 SME distributors across PNG that distribute our product. So for us, the distribution model is very important. It's also, rather than us open up branches across the country, it's trying to work with SMEs to build that, that sector up. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing over the last sort of 5 to 8 years, getting ready for the boom, and I've sort of split it into those three different categories. The first one is the investment in innovation. So one of the things that we realized with Theodist is that we pretty much deal with everybody in PNG in some shape or form. Every person comes in to buy something from us, whether it's a paper, pen, or paperclip. So part of the model of becoming a business superstore was to make sure that we brought all the brands that people look for internationally into PNG and have that at a price value proposition that makes sense. The days of things being charged at very high margins and so forth in PNG are gone. People are able to travel easily. People are able to access Amazon and various other online shopping mechanisms that are available. So for us, the first thing was widen the product range, partner with all the key brands that operate globally, and make sure that we can bring that into the country. The second part of that was to make sure that we can service those products that we bring into the country. So establishing a warranty center was a very important part of that strategy. So that is something we opened up in the last 4 or 5 years. We've actually got a service counter in our 3 locations, and we're actually able to service a lot of our products in country. And that's taken a bit of time to build, and we are still building on it, but that is one of the key parts to it. We've also started, expanding into a few other things, which might be interesting for some. Recently, I think the last 12 months, we supplied agriculture drones to Ramu. And these are drones that have 20-liter capacities. They go up in the air, they go out and spray the insecticide, and then come back to base. Now, I don't think there's many organizations that have brought that sort of stuff. It's like flying a little helicopter. They're quite sizable in terms of size. And for us, actively looking for these sort of products that are available on international markets and bringing them into PNG is a key part of our strategy. So we can make things a little bit more affordable. We can use our business model to move product and to also provide the training and deliver it to where it needs to be delivered to. human capital is probably the most important thing for us. Going from, the business on average, I think the time of employment that an employee has had with us at Theodist is generally about 10 to 15 years. We have staff that have worked for us for about 40 years, and then the average sort of turnover of staff in our business is actually quite low. So for us, making sure our people are happy is very, very important. In the last 5 years, we've actually created 100 new roles, and that was part of our expansion. The business has doubled, and that's created all these new roles that have come through. A lot of those roles are filled with Papua New Guineans, and one of the key things is training. Referring back to what the previous speakers have been talking about, getting skilled manpower in PNG is a challenge. There are many people looking for jobs, but not everybody has got the hard and soft skills that are needed, and that has to be one of the priorities for the government in terms of enabling the training of the right people, so we can get the right people in the business. As part of our growth into the tech space, we've also had to go and get a lot of technical resources that require a lot of industry training, especially around the servers, around the laptops, desktops. There's a lot of certifications that our staff have to constantly maintain. So that is something that has been built into our business and is part of our business model at the moment. The other few things we've done around strategic capital investment. We built and commissioned a central distribution center in the last 3-4 years. So when we started looking at what is coming up, a decade of construction, of LNG, of mining, we felt that we needed to have a centralized logistics area so that we can, one, hold our stock, and two, move that stock in an efficient manner to all the areas of PNG. So that was probably the bigger significant investment for us, was to build that in Geruhu, so it's easily accessible to the ports. And one of the advantages of that is that it then allows us to service the SME sector a lot better, because trying to service that SME sector from our main showroom is quite difficult, because you've got customers walking in, walking out, but at the same time you're trying to take care of a whole bunch of resellers where you're moving a significant amount of stock. So that has helped us to enable the whole SME side of things. We also, in the last 3-4 years, opened up a Hagen branch, and that was our gateway into the Highlands. So a lot of businesses have been setting up there over the years, and we identified that as important to us. We are currently looking at expanding that presence in Hagen so we can cater for the demand. It's one of the few areas we find that there's quite a lot of activity driven by the other Highlands provinces. The Leh branch, we've been anticipating WAFI to come online for some time, and we think it will happen in the next few years. So we've recently expanded that, increased our warehousing capacity so that we can hold more stock and move more stock. It's also our gateway into the Highlands, with our containers landing in Leh and therefore then being able to be restocked and sent up to our Hagen branch. And last but not least on that point was digital transformation. The world is moving very quickly, and being part of that cutting edge is very, very important. So we've built a very exciting website. If you haven't seen it, please do go and have a look. You will find our entire product range on there. We've also built on the back end of that a B2B e-commerce platform, which we are now working with a few organizations to actually link the back end. And that enables certain large customers to be able to access our stock and do their ordering sitting at their desk. So we are progressively moving in the digital transformation space as we evolve that model. The challenges, I think the first one is no surprise. It affects everybody. We are primarily an import-driven business. Foreign currency is our blood, basically, and it enables us to hold stock. It enables us to price things a little bit better because of the volume that we move. And when we don't have foreign currency, that impacts us very negatively. So it is something that we have been able to manage to a certain extent because of our ability to hold a large amount of stock. But it also means that when we do run out of that stock line, it can take some time to refill. So there's plus and minuses with that. Skilled manpower, I think everybody before me has been talking about that. It is an ongoing challenge. Every time we advertise for roles, we might get 1,000 CVs, but trying to sift through that and get the right people is actually quite hard. And that is something that P&G has to invest a lot more into to get the right sort of training and the right sort of capacity that you can get from the skilled manpower. As a business that's been in P&G for a long time, we do a lot of other things. One of the things is working with a lot of organizations that depend on charity. And we found that the economic challenges of the last few years does affect the underprivileged quite considerably. A lot of those organizations reach out to us for help and keep talking to us about the issues they have in raising funds and being able to do the activities they do. Some of those organizations have people that live at their centers, and it becomes a bit harder for them. So we find ourselves doing more, extending ourselves more in those spaces, and that's one of the issues we see in P&G at the moment. Obviously, with all the resource projects and all that, sustainability and the environment are important for us. We are quite passionate about that, and I'll talk a little bit more on one of the next slides. In terms of the whole, equitable investment, these are some of the organizations that we actively support and have supported for quite some time. These organizations also, have various funding challenges at the moment, and they're constantly looking for help. And we do our part to try and support those organizations, and it's good to see a lot of businesses doing the same thing. Sustainability, couple of important things for us. We were one of the first organizations to start the HP cartridge recycling program. We are one of the largest HP partners in Papua New Guinea, and so they gave us the ability to participate in the recycling program. So if you have HP cartridges and you want them recycled, please do talk to us. We come and drop a little box at your offices, and then when it's full, you can send that back to us. And HP has got a program where they take that back, they bring that back to Australia, and then they actually recycle them. We also were one of the first organizations to move away from plastic bags towards FSC certified shopping bags. So, this is the Forestry Stewardship Council. So making sure that we are using things that are approved by a body. We continue to expand the range of products we have to make sure that they are PEFC and FSC certified. And these will enable us to minimize the environmental impact of paper and paper-related products. Our vision for P&G's future, we think there is a lot happening in Papua New Guinea. We think that the only way is up. We think that in 10, 20 years, Papua New Guinea will have so much more happening, but there's a lot of things that need to happen today. We've ended up, getting involved with a few government agencies and so forth, trying to support them, because funding is a massive issue at this point in time. So we think that P&G is a great place to invest. We think that P&G is going to continue to grow, and in 20 years' time, P&G will be, a completely different place to where it is at the moment. So we invite investors, keep looking at Papua New Guinea, keep investing. The only way is up. There are some challenges in the short term, but we will be, I think in the next 20 years, P&G will be a completely different space. Thank you for your time. Thank you for making the effort to listen to the last person here, and feel free to reach out to us and connect with us where you can. Thank you.